Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you're having or have had a beautiful and blessed day. Pray today. Yeah, if you haven't, start now. Pray today. Pray about the things we talk about a lot, about anybody being persecuted for the faith, regardless of what their faith is. Right? Pray for anyone who is in slavery in some way or another, whether that be sex trade or whether that be labor. There is plenty of both still existing in the world right now. We like to pretend like slavery is this thing that happened once and how high and mighty we are for getting past it. But it exists right now today in this country, right? Sex slavery exists in this country. There are children who get shipped over to this country to work in real secret places, to do real secret things. Slavery hasn't gone anywhere. The face of it has just changed. It used to be perfectly legal, right, and accepted in some way, right? And the difference, again, and you can believe this or not, if you really look up actual historical data, this is easy to prove. But when it was a legal thing, not everywhere, because Islam has had more slavery than anybody ever, period. Okay? And if you look at Sharia law the right way, the way women are treated now, and women are this close to being slaves right now, if you live under Sharia law. But never mind that. In history, right, Islam, that faith, that group, has had more slaves than pretty much anyone. Muhammad was a warrior. He fought wars. That's what he did, right? And they enslaved a ton of people. Anyway, the funny thing is that, at least like in this country and in Great Britain and in places like that, when slavery was legal, still a horrible thing. It's a human being owning another human being. It's horrible, right? But when it was legal, the slaves were treated better. Now, you can argue about why that is. Personally, I think, if you look what a slave cost, a good, strong slave, all right, cost back in the day, and how much money people had to spend on things. If you could buy a slave, or did buy a slave, and you were some of those people, that was one of the biggest. Today, it would be equivalent to the farmer who goes out and buys the $600,000 tractor. He's not going to park this $600,000 tractor out in the middle of the field and leave it. He's going to put it on our barn, right? He's going to change the oil in it, right? He's going to lube stuff. Those slaves were taken better care of because they cost a lot of money, and you couldn't really replace them, and you wanted to keep, right? So they're treated pretty well. They were treated great, no. But compared to how slaves are treated now, they were treated spectacularly. Because now, it's all done under the table, right? So you treat them however you want to, so you replace them for dimes. It costs you nothing to replace them. You can kill them all, get rid of them. No one cares, because no one ever knows. The way people are treated now that live in slavery or in sex slavery or any kind of thing is abysmal. So pray for those people. Pray for any and everyone going through anything like cancer or any kind of terminal illness. Pray for the leadership of both our secular and our religious communities, because they both desperately need it. Pray for me. I'll take it all day, every day. All day, every day. I don't believe a doctor can do anything for me going forward much in my life. Right? I mean, look, you have to get down on it to be honest about it. Right? I'm a T5 paraplegic. Paralyzed from here down. Have been for over 19 years now. The bones from my hips down would break if you did them like this. My body's completely atrophied from there down, so there's no muscle. No ligaments, no strong ligaments holding anything together. My hips just pop in and out. When I move, I feel and hear my back pulling apart and going back together, where it's become severe scoliosis and is in horrible shape, frankly. And I'm not saying that to make you say, oh, a poor guy. I'm saying that to you because I've been a paraplegic for so long. And because of my body where it is, I recognize that my body's not going to get any better from here to 65 or 70 or wherever I live to, right? It's only going to go this way. It's not going to go this way. And I recognize that, and I understand that. So I don't ask y'all to pray for me because is my life hard? Yes. But God has performed miracles in my life that have not only allowed me to be here, but have allowed me to raise children. Children that mean everything in the world to me. It has allowed me to spend time on this earth with my family and stuff that I wouldn't have had. Yeah, my body's doing this. As long as my mind stays on it. And as long as the good Lord lets me continue to do this. Yeah, there's a lot of pain and there's a lot of stuff during the day, but there's also a lot of joy, a lot of love, a lot of good, right? Sometimes life gets us in a way that we have to focus on the good so we don't think about the bad so much, right? And as the great, mighty, and amazing actor, nay, not merely an actor, but an on-screen presence, Sylvester Stallone said, life ain't about how hard you can hit. Side note, I can hit quite hard. Doesn't matter. Because as he said, life ain't about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit. And keep moving forward. Right? Some people become paralyzed and within 4 to 10 years they're dead. Because they give up. Because life hit them that time and it hit them so hard they couldn't get up and keep moving forward. They could have, but they didn't, right? They quit. They gave up. I'm not judging them for that. This is hard. But they quit. Right? Life hit them like it hits all of us. And they quit. You know somebody like that. Maybe they're not paralyzed. Maybe something that bad didn't happen to them. Maybe it's just little things throughout their life and finally they just quit. You know people. You know at least one that never, bless you, that sits at home and never does anything but be sad, be dejected, need other people to talk and tell them how, right? I'm so sorry for you. You know those people. They're not bad people. They've given up. Life has hit them, and they've given up. I'm hard on my kids. I am. Sometimes I don't like how hard I am on them, and I have to go back and apologize. I'm sorry, I was too hard on them about that. But I'm not hard on them for any reason other than I don't want life to hit them someday and them give up. If I had given up after life hit me that time, I'd be long since dead. At least 10 years ago, maybe 15, I'd have been dead. But I didn't give up, right? Don't give up. God will be there with you and help you through anything as long as you don't give up. Don't give up. Get up, dust yourself off, and move forward. I've received degrees from universities since I've been in this chair. Had to exercise something, might as well be my mind. Right? Don't give up. Pray for everyone that life has knocked down to a point where they want to give up. Yeah, chapters 19 and 20. Well, we're going to try it anyway. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron. I know my voice is all like I'm 15 and it's breaking and stuff, but I'm so stopped up still, I can't even hear myself talk. It's just, so, bear with me, you know. This is a statute for the ritual which the Lord has commanded. Tell the Israelites to procure for you a red heifer without defect and free from every blemish, and on which no yoke has ever been laid. You will give it to Eleazar, the priest, and it will be led outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Eleazar, the priest, will take some of its blood on his finger and sprinkle it 7 times toward the front of the tent of meeting. Then the heifer will be burned in his sight. It will be burned with hide and flesh, its blood and dung. So you're not going to gut it, you're going to burn it. And remember, they never do that, right? They take the clean things here, the unclean things there, they do. Now you just throw this whole thing up there and burn it. And the priest will take cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet yarn, and throw them into the fire in which the heifer is being burned. The priest shall then wash his garments and bathe his body in water. Afterward he may enter the camp. The priest remains unclean until the evening. Likewise, the one who burned the heifer shall wash his garments in water, bathe his body in water, and be unclean until evening. Then somebody who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and deposit them in a clean place outside the camp. There are to be kept to prepare purification water for the Israelite community. This is a purification offering. The one who has gathered up the ashes of the heifer shall also wash his garments and be unclean until evening. This is a permanent statute, both for the Israelites and for the alien residing among them. Those who touch the corpse of any human being will be unclean for 7 days. They shall purify themselves with the water on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and then be clean. But if they fail to purify themselves on the 3rd and on the 7th day, they will not become clean. Those who touch the corpse of a human being who dies and who fail to purify themselves defile the tabernacle of the Lord, and these persons shall be cut off from Israel. Since the purification water has not been splashed over them, they remain unclean. Their uncleanness is still on them. This is the ritual. When someone dies in a tent, everyone who enters the tent, as well as everyone already in it, will be unclean for 7 days. And every opened vessel with its lid unfastened will be unclean. Moreover, everyone who in the open country touches a person who has been slain by the sword or has died naturally, or touches a human bone or a grave, will be unclean for 7 days. For anyone who is thus unclean, ashes shall be taken from the burnt purification offering, and spring water will be poured on them from a vessel. Then someone who is clean will take the hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle it on the tent and on all the vessels and the persons who were in it, or on the one who touched the bone, the slain person, or the other corpse, or the grave. The clean will sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd and on the 7th day, and thus purify them on the 7th day. Then they will wash their garments and bathe in water, and in the evening be clean. Those who become unclean and fail to purify themselves, those people, will be cut off from the assembly, because they defile the sanctuary of the Lord. The purification water has not been splashed over them. They remain unclean. This will be a permanent statute for you. Those who sprinkle the purification water will wash their garments, and those who come in contact with the purification water will be unclean until evening. Moreover, anything that the unclean person touches becomes unclean itself, and the one who touches such a person becomes unclean until evening. The Israelites, the whole community, arrived in the wilderness of Zin in the 1st month, and the people stayed at Kadesh. It was here that Miriam died, and here that she was buried. We're in chapter 20 now, sorry. Since the community had no water, they held an assembly against Moses and Aaron. Oh, you don't say. They're rising up against Moses and Aaron again. These people. You know, if not for having a God that allows us to live under His grace, His forgiveness, and His love, none of us would exist. We don't deserve to. Name a day that you have gone through in your life without doing any kind of sin. No gossip. No rumors. no cussing, no thinking thoughts that you shouldn't think. None of it. I'm a good person. I'm a good person too. But I sin every day. And so do you. And if you don't think you do, dear Lord, please pay more attention. Dig deeper into the things you do and think during the day and where they come from. Why you think that way or that thing. Yeah? Because if he wasn't unbelievably forgiving and loving, if he wasn't unbelievably kind and full of grace, he would have wiped us all out a long time ago. He gave us a beautiful world in which to live. Unbelievable resources. Unbelievable dirt to grow things. Unbelievable sources of water everywhere. Animals. Scenery beyond imagination. If you will just travel, you will see. You just travel in this country, you will see scenery that makes you weep. And all he asked for was for us to love him and do as he said. And what he said do was pretty easy. Love one another. Be kind. And yet we fail at it every day. You know, Catholics say when they're in service, in the beginning of their service, they have a thing they say out loud among all of their people. Forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned in what I have done and in what I have failed to do. We say that every Mass, at the beginning of Mass. And then it's followed by, so I ask you, my brothers and sisters, to pray for me. I ask the angels and saints to pray for me, that the Lord our God might forgive me my sins. Because if you don't recognize that you need to say something like that every day, basically, boy, you're not seeing the world real clearly. Sorry about that. All right, anyway, let's continue. And this is going to be a long video. It shouldn't have been. I'm sorry. So Miriam has died and was buried at, they stayed at Kadesh. She was died and buried there. Since the community had no water, they held an assembly against Moses and Aaron. The people quarreled with Moses, exclaiming, "Oh, would that we had perished when our kindred perished before the Lord. Oh, if we'd only died, it'd have been so much easier." How many times have they said this crap? Over and over again. If not for unbelievable grace and forgiveness, right? None of us are here. Okay. If only we had perished before the Lord. Why have you brought the Lord's assembly into this wilderness for us and our livestock to die here? Why have you brought us up out of Egypt, only to bring us to this wretched place? There were slaves in Egypt, they're free here, but that's not good enough, is it? It is not a place for grain, nor figs, nor vines, nor pomegranates, and there is no water to drink. But Moses and Aaron went away from the assembly to the entrance of the tent of meeting, where they fell prostrate. This is what happens every time, right? They have to fall on their faces on the ground and beg God not to kill these people or to give them some water or something. Because the people won't just pray and do what they're supposed to. No, they got to rise up and be angry every time. Sound familiar? Look around the world we live in right now. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to them, and the Lord said to Moses, "Take the staff and assemble the community, you and Aaron and your brother. And in their presence command the rock to yield its waters. Thereby you bring forth water from the rock for them, and supply the community with their livestock with water." So Moses took his staff from his place before the Lord, as he was ordered. Then Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly in front of the rock, where he said to them, "Just listen, you rebels. Are we to produce water for you out of this rock?" Then raising his hand, Moses struck the rock twice with his staff, and water came out in abundance, and the community and their livestock drank. But the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Because you did not have confidence in me, to acknowledge my holiness before the Israelites. Therefore you shall not lead this assembly into the land I have given them. Now, I've told you this was coming, that Moses wasn't going to get to go. Of course, you've already heard Moses, I ain't going anywhere, right? I'm going to go back. But this is Lord telling them. Listen to what Moses said one more time. Just listen, you rebels. Are we to produce water from you out of this rock? Then raising his hand, Moses struck the rock twice with his staff. And water came out in abundance, and the beauty of our drink. Because you did not have confidence in me to acknowledge my holiness before the Israelites. So did Moses stand up there and go, is the Lord to give you water from this rock? No, he said, am I? Huh? Talking about himself and Aaron, yeah? Are we to produce water for you out of this rock? Then he struck and produced water. Because you did not have confidence in me and acknowledge my holiness before the Israelites. Therefore you shall not lead this assembly into the land I have given them. These are the waters of Meribah, where the Israelites quarreled with the Lord, and through which he displayed his holiness. From Kadesh, Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom. Thus says your brother Israel, you know of all the hardships that have befallen us, how our ancestors went down to Egypt and we stayed in Egypt a long time. And the Egyptians treated us and our ancestors harshly. When we cried to the Lord, he heard our cry. And he sent an angel who led us out of Egypt. Now, here we are at Kadesh, a town at the edge of your territory. Please let us pass through your land. We will not cross any fields or vineyards, nor will we drink any well water. But we will go straight along the king's highway, without turning to the right or to the left, until we have passed through your territory. The king's highway was literally just a roadway. Obviously, it's not a highway like we could, but it was a roadway, and it was a very important roadway for the kings, emperors, stuff like that, to travel back and forth to territories and things. So, don't make that some complicated thing. King's Highway, talking about Jesus' Highway? No, it was just a road. Sometimes it's just a road. All right, we talked about that. It's just a road. But Edom answered, you shall not pass through here. If you do, I will advance against you with the sword. The Israelites said to him, we will go up along the highway. If we or our livestock drink any of your water, we will pay for it. It is nothing. Just let us pass through on foot. Edom replied, you shall not pass through. And advanced against them with a large and heavily armed force. Therefore, since Edom refused to let Israel pass through their territory, Israel turned away from them. Setting out from Kadesh, the Israelites, the whole community, came to Mount Hor. There at Mount Hor, on the border of the land of Edom, the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, let Aaron be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land I have given to the Israelites, because you both rebelled against my directions at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up on Mount Hor. Then strip Aaron of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. But there Aaron shall be gathered up in death. Now, yeah, I know y'all have heard of Mount Hor because we've talked about it, but if you haven't been here through the whole thing, for the like the New Testament stuff where we read it before, it's got to be around Kadesh. If you look up Kadesh, and you look at the mountains and what that probably would have been, it's almost always the highest part around. It brings us right back around to typology and to why Isaac had to be sacrificed in the place where he was, why Christ had to come back and be right. There's a lot of specific locations that we don't call out exactly in the Bible, but when you look at them on a map and figure where they were at, they all kind of point to the same couple of mountains, kind of period. Moses did as the Lord commanded. When they had climbed Mount Hor in view of the whole community, Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar his son. Then Aaron died there on top of the mountain. When Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain, all the community understood that Aaron had breathed his last. And for 30 days the whole house of Israel mourned Aaron. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I talked plenty before this today, so I'm not going to talk much after. Pray today. Pray today, pray today. Pray unceasingly. Change your vocabulary from lucky to blessed. Yeah? From, oh, that was fortunate or fortuitous, to that was a blessing. Yeah? I love you. Jesus Christ loves you a whole lot more. Have a beautiful and blessed day.